Good morning, folks. How are we today? Hope you're all well. Um, let's have a wee look and see who's in this morning. Aye, Vipers caught one. Chat, please join Reagan Elites live at 11 a.m. I was just about to say the same thing myself. So remember, folks, right in the back of this one, Reagan Elite goes live on his channel, and it's his morning show. Okay. So when you're finished here, if you're still on the tube, nip over and see what Reagan Elite's going to say. What else we got? Let's see who's in. Buenos dias, amigos. Ange Ferrandi. Hi, Ange. Akis, June. Who else we got? Wolf Pet, George Ewan, James Connolly. And up away. I think that's everybody up away. Let's go down the way again. Right, No, it seems to be all George Ewan and James Connolly at the moment. Hi, Akis. Hi, June. Hi, Janet. Hi, Ange Ferrandis, if she's already said that. Good morning, Reagan Elite. Good morning, Mark Telfer. Good morning, John O'Rourke. Good morning, Jim Soralpa. Eddie Wolfie. Well, we 85, hun. We're doing well. Hello, Hootsman. Hello, Kirsty. Hi, Jodie. Hi, John. Hi, Andy. Diane. Christina. Giants Breeches. Arc Office. Hello. Who else has we seen that handle? Rosalind. C.L. Sutherland. And Doug. Stephen Kelly. Malcolm Morrison. Anyway, let's go on with this, shall we? Sunday Truck Davy out the truck nap home in his office in Salisbury, North Lanarkshire, where it's 22 degrees. It is bloody Scorchio. And today's high is expected to get as high as 28 degrees. So it's sun factor duffel coat the day, folks. So it is, because we're all going to burn to a crisp. Now, doing that road for young Reagan Elite is, it's going to get up to 30, 40, 36 degrees. Wow. Shall we see who today's legend is?
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning. You are speaking to John from the Energy Advice Center. We have some great news for you tonight, sir.
No, you haven't, John. Bye now. That's that one blocked. Can't beat a good nuisance call first thing in the morning, folks. Anyway, where were we? Aye, 20 degrees. High's going to be 28 degrees. Doing my Reagan away as it's going to be up to 34, 36 degrees. Bloody Scorchio, dangerous. Mind to keep hydrated. If you're up here in Scotland and you're pale skinned like most days, sun factor duffel coat, or 50 or 100 if you can get your hands on it. Better still, just stay in fucking doors. Alright. Anyway, falling count. Apparently it's moderate, but I've been out this morning and I'm a bit stuffed, so I have to come in and get an antihistamine. So there you go. And the main allergen today is grass, and it will be the rest of the week because as our gardens all dry out, the grass will be getting cut. Right, anyway, folks, to be honest with you, when I seen the headlines today, I thought, oh, what's the fucking point? It's a silly season, and the only story in town is Nicola, and she's put herself out there to be beaten up, and it's happening. And I mean, it's happening. So first up this morning, we've got the English press posing as a Scotsman. The Scotsman has. Let's get it up. Oh, other end of the pack, David. The Scotsman has. Sturgeon, no apology, but still no apology, but Sturgeon at last admits rapist Bryson is male. Ex-First Minister says she lost the dressing room over the gender issue. Now, this is nonsense. But this is how she sees it. As for the no apology, I keep saying this, history is going to show that Nicola was on the right side of history. Trying to give everybody equal human rights is the bloody right thing to do. But this story gets more ridiculous as we go on. And if I remember right, I think we spoke about this at the time. This was the transgender rapist that was put into a female prison. So it's all nonsense. It's all culture war, but there's nothing out there that they want Jock to know about. So all the turmoil on the planet, that's none of Jock's business. That's Westminster's business. So we'll just get nonsense in the press. And it would appear Nicola's supplying plenty of it. And I'll get rid of that if I can find the fucking thing. Right, next up, we've got the Looney Raggedy Express. So we'll put that up. To say I have no enthusiasm for the press at all today, folks. None. It's all nonsense. Sturgeon rapist probably lost right to change gender. To be honest with you, if you want to really punish a rapist, and be a sadistic, sick bastard to society, you could always take the rapist and trans them. Take away their kit and make them a fully blonde woman, and let them live out their life as the victim that they have been picking on. That would be a real punishment. Fucking cruel, but geez, oh, it'd be real. But I have to say, there's a lot of this nonsense in the press today. It is a silly season. The parliaments are closed, so it's just whatever they can find. And I say, in our case, it's not business to Jock. So we'll just put nonsense in the press. And it doesn't get any better as it goes further in, folks. I can assure you it doesn't. So that's the Looney Raggedy Express. Next up after the Express we have the Herald. Let's see what it's got for us this morning. Mere culture wars nonsense. I still find it difficult to define Isla Branson, admits Sturgeon. Former First Minister speaks of gender struggles in TV interview ahead of a memoir publication. I don't see where the big problem is here. People should be allowed to identify as how they please, provided they're not doing anybody else any harm. Simple as that. I'm fed up with this nonsense, whether it be because Nicola's publishing her memoirs and she, of course, is taking her up for the Gender Recognition Act, which you and I and everybody else here knows was a cross-party act. It was passed by 83 to 39, so unanimously by the Parliament, a cross-party act. Yeah, here's Nicola taking the blame for it. She seems to be soaking it up and loving it, though. So what can you say? Did I not have that up? I forget to share that one. Anyway, we'll give you a look at the Herald just in case I did forget to share it. To say, this is all nonsense, folks. We are in the silly season, and any international issue, that's no Jock's business. That's reserved. So there's very little in the newspapers. There's any substance today here in Scotland. It's all about Nicola's memoirs, which is pretty depressing. But no doubt when it comes out. Right, what's after the Herald? The Times. Let's see what the Times has got for us this morning. Another English rag claiming to be a Scottish paper. Sturgeon hits out at Rowing on trans row. Mere gender nonsense. I try to keep away from it. If Sturgeon and Rowling want to duke it out, I don't fancy Rowling's chances. That's for sure. But as I say, the two of them were on the opposite sides of the gender argument. As I say, me personally, I'm not buying it. I'm certainly not buying it. People should be allowed to identify as how they want, as long as they're not doing anybody else any harm. Right, after the Times we have The Scum. That is another Sturgeon book. Story. And it claims Salmon didn't even read Indie Blueprint. Nicola Sturgeon, ex-FM. He says that Alec abdicated responsibility. Sorry, Nicola. He didn't. And I don't often disagree with you. What he didn't abdicate responsibility, he delegated responsibility. He delegated it to you, actually. You headed up the 2012 to 2014 referendum. Don't try and rewrite history, Nicola. We all lived through it. He didn't abdicate responsibility, he delegated it. And I'm not the biggest fan in the world, because him and I had a few arguments about a few things, especially the Edinburgh Agreement, but that's beside the point. The point is, he did not abdicate his responsibilities, Nicola. You can't rewrite history. He delegated it to you. Right. The fail has. Sturgeon, the Queen quizzed me on Salmon's sex claims. I didn't know the Queen liked a bit of gossip. But hey ho, I don't pay that much attention to the royals. They're insignificant in most of our lives. I dare say there's a few royalists around which would disagree with that, but I don't really care. But there you go, folks. Apparently, old Lizzie liked a bit of gossip. Who knew? Well, obviously Nicola knew. Right, next up we've got her answer. Nick goes on Sturgeon's tearful admission. Nicola, my baby lost agony. Former First Minister reveals why she will always blame herself for miscarriage. That's no uncommon, Nicola, actually. And she confesses to suffering guilt over a sorry about that, dropped off there. It would appear that Nicola knew she was pregnant. When Sarah miscarried, it was so early on in the pregnancy that she didn't know she was pregnant. So I have a bit of experience with this one. Sarah had a few miscarriages. I hope she doesn't mind me saying that. So I understand the guilt that Nicola's talking about, because Sarah felt the same way. High class action. So I can understand the guilt that she was feeling and the conflict that she was feeling about her pregnancy. I can get that one. Having been there myself a few times with Sarah. Right, the eye has. Let's put it up. No, there's the eye. We must be in the other end now. Don't trust Putin, Starmer warns Trump as Zelensky cut out of Crunch Ukraine summit. Now, folks, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. It would appear that Trump and Putin intend to carve up Ukraine without any input for the Ukrainian people, the Ukrainian president. It's unbelievable. Couple of bully boys deciding the future of a whole people. A wee bit for the food, stroke baby banks for Alistair Sean. YouTube changed our names. Right, yeah, Alistair, thank you very much. You're a very generous man. So now I know who Viper's caught one is. Okay. But the idea that these two can just cut out the Ukrainian people and its president and the European people who will be affected by the carve up is fucking outrageous. But it's happening. We spoke about it yesterday in the headlines as well. But at least this isn't about Sturgeon's memoirs. Okay. So let's get rid of the eye. And after the eye, oh dear, it was one before the eye. Next up, we'll get Telegraph. That's what we've got next. And it says Kyiv ready to give up land for peace. I don't think Kyiv's got any fucking say in it. Trump's meeting Putin in Alaska. There's no Kyiv input. There's no Ukrainian input. There's no European input. So Kyiv ready to give up land for peace. Well, what you mean is Trump and Putin to carve up Ukraine. That's exactly the headline translated for you folks. Outrageous nonsense. I'm sure the Ukrainian people do not wish to see their state divided by Putin and Trump. But that's exactly what's happening. Right, next up we'll get the national. We'll get it up in a wee second. Okay, here we go. The national. The national's got quite a few headlines. Exclusive interview with John Swinney. Why I believe my plan for independence will work. I think I'll need to read that one. Because none of the rest of us think your plan for independence will work. You're relying on the decency of that shower of shite in Westminster to respect democracy. Well, history tells us, John, they don't. Nuke base leaked and covered up scandal probe call. Ministers must now explain the steps they are taking after radioactive material from Trident site released into law. I'll tell you what action they're taking. Fuck all. Nothing. It's only joke. Poison them. Give them cancer. Wipe them out. We're just a pain in the arse to that shower of shite in Westminster anyway. You get the fucking nukes out of your country. They're poisoning the Clyde. They're poisoning the Gairloch. They're poisoning the fucking people. The Department of Labour must support an investigation into Israel's killing of journalists, union says. Labour will do no such fucking thing. None. And interestingly enough, the killing of these journalists is being stonewalled by the press because this is the only publication that's in. You would expect it to be front page right across all this fucking newspapers a day. After all, it's the rain. It's other journalists that are being taken out deliberately. Where's the outcry? There isn't. It's been suppressed. It's been suppressed deliberately by the press. The whole genocide in Gaza thing. To look at the UK press, you would never know it was fucking happening. It's an outrage. But you think about it, it's the people who write these papers, colleagues who are being murdered. And the National's the only one that's got anything about it in the paper. Which is absolutely stunningly daft. But it's true. Like when you would expect that to be mainstream. Headlines all over the rags. After all, it's journalists that have been murdered by a shower of shite in Israel. But not a word. And most of the press, there's a couple of them who do have a mention of it. Right, next up we have the Metro. Let's put Metro up, see what it's going for as a day. Well, that's an interesting one actually. The numbers here are for NHS Scotland. NHS England, sorry. But I did have a look. Warning as wait times fuel violence. 11 attacks a day on A&E nurses. Punch, kick, spat at, threatened with gun and acid as we tried to care for patients. Fucking gun and acid! Oof! But I say this is an NHS England story, but I did have a look at the figures for Scotland. I couldn't find NHS nurses specific numbers for Scotland. What I could find out was that 60 public servants a day across all the public services are either abused or assaulted in Scotland. Comparable numbers with England per capita, to be fair. So although these are NHS England specific numbers, per capita it's about the same here in Scotland. It's outrageous and people want to get a fucking grip. Wow. It's like biting the hand that feeds you, hurting public servants who are there to help you. Unbloody believable. So it is. Next up, we've got The Guardian. This one actually puts the story of these journalists where it should be, on the front fucking page, and it should be on the front page of every publication. The truth has died. Global fury as Israel strike kills journalists. Global fury! Out of all the fucking rags of days, 13 of them, this one and the I are the only two that mention it. The National are the only two that mentions it. This story is being quietly erased. As is most of what Israel has done in Palestine, being erased. Or not reported on, which is more important. Because if you don't know about it, you don't need to erase it. If we didn't have access to international press via the net, you wouldn't think there was much going on the fucking planet. Apart from Nicola Sturgeon's struggle with the gender wars. Well, the truth has died. Aye, it has. We've just looked at fucking 12 publications. And there's no lot of truth in any of them. That's for sure. There's not a lot of truth in any of them. As I say, I had absolutely no enthusiasm for the papers today at all. I should have went to England to see what they had. Because the Parliament's in recess, we're getting all the stupidness that comes available to the press. Outrageous stuff. I'm glad I don't buy these fucking rags. I'm only reporting on them. Wow. Anyway, that brings us to, as you see, I've put my pad down. That brings us to the Star. What's the Star got for us today? Heat wave warning. Parents urged to keep kids indoors. Lucky some are back in school. What? Schools must have air conditioning these days because they didn't in my day. Sitting in the classroom in a heat wave was a fucking nightmare. Not we had that many, but we had a few. And look who's stuck in. And I was, folks, it's going to be too hot to let your kids out to play. Not that'll apply to much of us, it'll be grandkids in our cases. But, as I said at the beginning of the show, folks, it's factor duffel coats type weather this week. Keep yourself covered up or smeared in sunblock because it is going to get hot, real hot, this week, apparently. And the good news is, that means I'll get to cut the grass. To say, folks, crap in the papers today, folks. There's nothing really to talk about. Nothing. But we'll come back tomorrow morning and do it all again. Hopefully by then, Nicola's memoirs will be after headlines. We'll get something to talk about. Alright, please hit the like button, folks, because it does help the algorithm. Share this if you want to. That helps and all. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. That helps. Hi, Sir Larry. School boffins, aye. School boffins. So, if you're down there in England, especially around about the south of England, where it's going to get really, really hot, stay well hydrated. Up here in Scotland, it's going to be Scorchio, which means anything from fucking 16 to 28, maybe even as high as 30 later in the week. So, take care. We'll see you all tomorrow morning, 10:30. Don't be late. Bye for now.